Welcome to Your Food Looks Funny. I am Marcus T, and today we're talking about a fresh start to trying new vegetables.
I'm not eating that.
I'm not eating that. All right, so we're back with another episode. Back with another week of telling you about some picky tendencies that I have. But before we get into that, as usual, I just want to tell you, make sure you're following the social medias. YFLF Podcast on Instagram is our best place to check us out. Also, we have a Facebook group for Your Food Looks Funny. Has some funny discussions in there about some strange foods that I often see. Make sure you call or text the show if you have some comments or things you want me to know about today's episode or any other episodes that you've caught in the past. 419-777-4259 or 419-77-PICKY is the number. All right, so today we're going to get into some fresh start ideas when it comes to vegetables. If you haven't listened to the show before, we're here to discuss all things picky eating related and to try to get people to open up their horizons when it comes to their palate. So if you haven't been around, episode 6 I did a show based off of vegetables, how to know when they're done, what type you should cook, fresh versus frozen versus canned, that kind of thing. So go back and check that one out to get some more in-depth talk about vegetables. But right now we're just going to talk about fresh vegetables. So we're in early June right now. Now's a great time. Now is a great time if you haven't tried certain vegetables, if you're just adverse to trying them. Maybe you had a bad experience when you were a kid and you had some canned ones that were just slimy. They had that preservation liquid around it and they were super salty, possibly. Who knows how your parents or whoever prepared them. They were just disgusting. I get it. I've been there. But right now is a good time in most states to get fresh, good quality, and cheap vegetables. You can go to your local farmer's market. You go to a farm if you feel like having a great adventure, or you can just go to the produce section in your local grocery store, Whole Foods, whatever you got in your area. But there are a lot of vegetables and fruits for that matter. I'm not just talking vegetables. There are a lot of produce items that are now in season of great taste. Okay, it's a good time to taste them, not when they're out of season. They cost an arm and a leg because they're shipping in from somewhere. They're locally grown most of the time. Try something that's a specialty for your area. For instance, I live here in Northern Virginia, and right now is a good time to try asparagus if you've never had it, cherries if you've never had them, or different varieties of these things. I mean, some of them are fairly common, but we never know the level of pickiness that is listening or has ears on this show. So I just want to make sure I touch all the little nooks and crannies that are possible. Never want to discriminate and just skip past the obvious stuff or what I feel is obvious, simply because you never know what people have tried and you don't want to make them feel lesser than just because they haven't tried something you think is simple. So blueberries, cabbage, carrots, anything that's very simple. Like I said, my wife doesn't eat carrots, but one time I took fresh carrots, peeled them, cut them down, roasted them, and she loved them. It was more of her reaction to them being fresh, and she didn't know it. That's why she was reacting to it that way, because she had always had frozen carrots or canned sometimes. When we first started dating, she was pulling cans out of her cabinet, and I was like, in my head, mind you, because I still wanted to go on another date. But in my head, I was saying, you're using canned stuff, being a little judgmental. I get it. It's the chef side of me that comes out every now and then because we use canned items every now and then. But normally it's some sort of bean or something you don't feel like going through the hassle of preparing. But when it comes to vegetables, fresh is best for taste. Because if you go back to episode 6, I reference as to why frozen and canned vegetables can be beneficial. But for this instance, we're talking about flavor. Why do you want to come back and eat it? Most people aren't looking for nutritional value off the top as to why they're eating fruits or vegetables. They're going off of taste. And the taste of fresh fruit and vegetables is normally superior to anything else you can find, especially when it's locally grown. You want it as close to coming off the vine, tree, plant as you can in order to maximize nutritional value and flavor. as close to ripeness, cutting off the vine, tree, plant as you can. Tomatoes, some of these things that I hate, the fresher they are, the more likely I am to continue eating them just because they have a better taste. If you go to a local farmer's market in the summertime or in peak growing season, wherever you are, you're likely to find something better than you are in an off-peak time that had to be shipped in ahead of time because these things were cut before they were fully ripe. So normally they're not going to have the greatest nutritional value, nor are they going to have the greatest flavor or greatest shelf life for that matter, simply because they had to be picked early or they had to be preserved in some form or fashion, frozen or canned. And in order to avoid those downfalls, getting them fresh and in peak season is always the best way to go. So again, early June, as of this recording, if you're listening to this sometime in the winter or your off growing season, I'm sorry you caught it a little late, but hey, you'll be way ahead of time when the next growing season comes around. But like I said, right now, fruits and vegetables are at prime peak growing for most. If you live in California or, South Florida or somewhere that has year-round growing, congratulations to you, okay? You have struck the fresh produce jackpot. But for the rest of us that live somewhere with some kind of non-subtropical climate, we got to deal with winters or frost or just chilly weather that isn't prime growing for everything else. Be ready to go to your local farmer's market, okay? Don't always rely on the produce section of your grocery store. It's great for convenience. You know where stuff is. You have people that can direct you there. But a farmer's market is normally much faster going from the plant to your hand. At most a couple days for a farmer's market. For produce section at a grocery store, you're looking at maybe a week, which means you're not getting full nutritional value. You're not getting peak flavors. And that's what we're all about here is flavors. If you've ever been to a restaurant that was farm to table or stayed in a region that, does farm to table, these are great experiences to check out. If you can find something of the sort, it's a great thing to experience because the flavors are unmatched when you can find a good one. I'm not going to say that every restaurant that markets itself as farm to table is great, obviously, because there's a whole lot of other factors that go into it as far as seasoning and preparation that will ultimately decide what the flavor of your meal is going to be. But for the simple fact of being able to taste the freshness, being able to see the process in person, and sometimes get a better story and understanding of where your food came from can help amplify the meal. You don't want to hear that your meal came out of a bag or, it came in frozen and we just prepared it to the best of our ability. Sometimes you want to know that, hey, that food came from a local farm and this is the soil that it was grown from. And it got here a day ago. It was harvested 2 days ago. You don't realize how much that means to a lot of people. And ultimately it affects price, of course, which is why I'm saying if you get this stuff in season, normally it'll be cheaper. So if you check out the special, and that's another thing, when you go to eat at restaurants, when you can get a special, so something that they have a surplus of at a restaurant, they're trying to get rid of it because they have too much, or it's something that's just a local favorite, or you're a carnivore like me, you like meaty dishes, but for some reason they have a special that's vegan or vegetarian and you don't venture towards those dishes. Now is a great time because those things are in season. You're going to get full flavor and experience out of them. So instead of somebody whipping together a frozen veggie burger or something, maybe they have a fresh one on the menu. Maybe they have something that's well outside of the standard of what you would normally pick, but it's affordable to the point of you're willing to try it. Always be willing to try, but you can always go back to old reliable later. You know what you love. Hey, if it's chicken tenders and french fries for you, go with that next time. For right now, try something new while it's affordable, while it's fresh, while it's in season. It's a great time. Okay. This is just a short episode here. I just want to get some things out there about seasonality. Check in on the pickiness meter. Let me know where you're at. What's the last new thing you tried? Call into the show 419-77-PICKY. 419-777-4259 for those who like the numerical version. Again, check us out on the social medias. Thank you guys for listening. YFLF Podcast for the social medias. Don't know what next week's episode is going to be about, as usual. Making it up on the spot. Looking for more people to be on the show. If you want to do that, contact the show as well for that. And I think that's about it. See you guys next week.